There's a difference between benchmarking and comparing. Benchmarking in your industry is utilizing information to validate that you're on the right track or to make adjustments to become better in your business. Comparing is when you become jealous, you become bitter, you have a victim mentality. Well, why does so-and-so have this size business and I don't? Whatever it is, you use it as a mental derailment. Welcome back to another episode of the Elite Business Advice Podcast. My name's Chris Moore, and I am reclaiming the host role here on the Elite Business Advice Podcast. If you don't know why I said it that way, you must have missed last week's episode. Shame on you. I'm just kidding. My good friend, Michelle Dambrowitz, I always probably say her last name wrong. I apologize. She took over and she interviewed me. She was our first ever guest host here on the Elite Business Advice Podcast. I realized that the other day. I've done a lot of great interviews. I've had a lot of fun with some great people on here. She's the first one that I ever just was like, here, you're hosting this one. And she knocked it out of the park. It was so much fun. We didn't even get to half of what she had planned because of time. And so we thought we'd actually do a part 2 on it. But last week was a lot about us and just coaching and stuff that she wanted to ask from kind of a contractor point of view, which I appreciated. And I hope you found it valuable. But this one is going to be a little bit more focused on some questions about the challenges we see, the industry trends, and the other helpful information that for you, the listener, to maybe think about as we head into 2026. One of my favorite things about what we get to do here and speaking in different ways to this industry, whether it's at events, whether it's on podcasts, whether it's ours, whether it's on PCA business training calls, is we get to oversee and benchmark hundreds of painting contractors all over North America, from our clients to friends in the industry, all over the place. And we kind of can bring that data to whatever audience we're speaking to. And so as Michelle and I were talking about the episode and realized how long it was going to get, we thought, you know what, maybe we do this in a part 2. And we do part 1 that is kind of focused on us and some of the questions about what we asked and talked through last week. But then maybe kind of part 2 is a little bit more like, how do we take the experiences and what we see and ask it and shed some light into things out there that can be helpful for you guys listening as we head into this new year, this new season 6 here on the Elite Business Advice Podcast, which is crazy cool to think about. So I hope this also helps. Thank you guys for plugging in. This is the Elite Business Advice Podcast. Michelle, welcome back. This has been fun. Thank you for doing this last week.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for having me back again and for not running scared in the other direction.
That's okay. That's okay. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I appreciated your idea behind it, and I'm glad we ran with that. And so I'm going to kind of turn it back over to you to keep running with the questions. I know, like I said, you did a great job on last week, so I want to turn it over to you and hit me with the questions that are top of mind for you right now.
You got it. You got it. And I am a question asker, so I'm always curious and looking for more. And I love that you obviously travel to various events throughout the year. You see hundreds of people and have conversations with all sorts of things. So I know you have a plethora of knowledge, and I know that you talk to people who have a plethora of knowledge, and it just expands and goes from there. So like in your years in the industry, what's something that constantly that you've seen that just derails businesses like on a whole? Like what sort of things just start
the snowball effect, right?
Yeah.
I would say honestly, and maybe this is like a Captain Obvious statement here, but I didn't want to take anything for granted. I think when it comes to finances, and the reason why I say that is everything else can kind of be rebounded, right? If you make a bad marketing decision, you can rebound from it and just go make the right ones. You make a bad, creating your sales process, right? If it's not great, you can always change it and then you kind of draw a line in the sand and move forward with it, right? When it comes to finances, bad decisions can start a downward spiral, right? And I know that can be scary. It's an emotional thing for people. Finances are in and of itself, not even talking about business, just personal finances and survival, right? But bad decisions can start a slippery slope, unfortunately. And one thing that we talk a lot about is like understanding your North Star metric in your business. And for the painting industry, we view that as how much work are you producing in a given month? And if you can make sure you're hitting the number, and if everything else holds true, your business is profitable, right? You kind of reverse engineer your numbers backwards a little bit. Starting with how much money do you want or need to make in your business, and then, adding in your costs, and that tells you how much you need to produce every month. And so I think, when it comes to finances, it's bad decisions. It's not knowing that North Star metric or not hitting it, right? Maybe you know it, but you're just like, yeah, we need to produce that. We're just not, right? And then unfortunately what happens is that leads back into bad decisions, right? And so I would say one big thing as it comes to finances, we talk about bad decisions, but I would say not stacking up a cash cushion as you're growing or just for those slow seasons, right? We're recording this here right before Christmas as we head into the new year. It's the worst time of the year for every painting contractor out there. I get it, right? And even if it's not weather related, it's holiday related, right? Everybody's like, oh man, I wish we lived in Texas where it's, we can do exteriors year round. You can, but did you forget people still celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and there's this weird month that just disappears, right? So unfortunately, all of us on the northern half of the country kind of get the double whammy on it. It's the weather and the seasons, but not building and accumulating cash. I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes we see with people, which then sometimes leads into having to get short-term loans to just survive at very high interest rates. And then it creates that slippery slope of how do we get out of this, right? And so I think just trying to be as profitable as quickly as possible and build up a good cushion to weather anything that's going to come your way, whether it's a slow season, whether it's a check that you were supposed to collect a month ago, still can't get, right? Having a good cushion based on where you're at in your business size-wise can be one of the best blessings in the world.
And when you say cushion, is there a certain percentage or like a month's worth or a certain number?
Yeah, I
or
mean,
is it...
3 months of operating expenses and owner salary or leadership salary, however, I don't typically put painter wages in there. But I would say 3 months as a benchmark is kind of a minimum goal to have on that. We kind of just break it down into stages of business and kind of have some number targets that we walk through with our clients. But as far as kind of a rough rule of thumb, I would say 3 months of operating expenses, owner salary distributions, and then include anybody that you have, as a non-producing team member, like an estimator, a project manager, an office manager, include their salary in that number. And at least 3 months of that's some good security.
Okay.
6 months plus would be really ideal, but at least 3.
Whew. Yep. Okay. Yep. Better safe than sorry.
Exactly.
And for those who, like myself, have palpitations and they get all dizzy and stuff when we see numbers and all of those sorts of things and spreadsheets and all this, there is hope out there for those people to get help with that and understand it, right?
Yeah, we usually just send them a Xanax pill to take before we get on our calls. No, I'm just kidding. Yes. And I think that's a big thing. We really try to do this. I know I said I was going to make this episode about us, but we really try to simplify things for our clients because, again, we understand the point of view. We understand that some people out there see a spreadsheet and have a panic attack. It's okay. I wasn't gonna say that. Yeah. If you're listening on audio, Michelle's pointing at herself.
Yes.
It's okay, right? I was going to let you call yourself out. I wasn't going to do that one. But it's okay, right? And we want to try to keep it as simple as possible, right? Yes, we need to know the numbers. You can't just not look at them. But let's do it as simple as possible, as easy to understand. And even if it just needs us to walk through it every month, right? We want our clients to get to a point where they understand what we're looking at.
Right.
But even if for the first 6 months, we get all this together and you look at us and go, so how'd we do? That's fine. Because at least at least we can talk through it. We'll say why this was good or why this wasn't good. Like we'll talk through it, right? And so yeah, we want to be able to help people break those complex things down into simple, easy to decipher tidbits of information that they can actually use in their business.
Right, right. So they don't have to be the best at everything in their business to
No,
still be successful. They just need to have the right tools or people in place to help them with those
exactly.
things.
Exactly. And I would argue the people that try to do it all themselves are the ones that never get out of their own way.
Hmm.
Whatever that means,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
whether it's
Hmm.
finances or my weakness, then great, you need somebody on your side that can be your
Right.
teammate and help you with that. Marketing's your weakness, great. There's people out there that can help you with that actually, like whatever it is. If you try to do it all yourself, it's at some point that's going to be really hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good advice. So what drives you crazy? From you wish you could just scream or strangle somebody, like what drives you crazy and what would you yell at people to stop doing, like as business owners? Like,
I
is there a
would
number one or
love
two, three?
no, I'm just going to go really hard on number one.
Okay, go
I
for it.
would love for people to stop comparing themselves to others.
Mm.
Please stop. Okay. There's a difference between benchmarking and comparing. Benchmarking in your industry is utilizing information to validate that you're on the right track or to make adjustments to become better in your business, right? That's what benchmarking is. Comparing is when you become jealous, you become bitter, you have a victim mentality. Well, why does so and so
Mm.
have this size business and I don't? Or why does so and so, have three estimators on their team? And like whatever it is, you use it as a mental derailment. Okay.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, we see a lot of people comparing themselves. And it's easy to do. Let's be just truthful. The world of social media that we live in has made this 100 times worse. We're all guilty of it in some way, whether we consciously realize it or not, really.
Mhm.
Um, but I think like business and I think just life in general, but business is such a mental game. I related a lot to golf in that sense. For anybody listening to this that's a golfer, understands that world. Um, and we got to get out of our own way, right? I just mentioned that a
Mhm.
second ago about like delegating and having people around you. I think the same thing's true mentally. Like we have to understand when it's healthy to compare ourselves in the right light for that benchmarking, but we also can't do it in a negative way where we're comparing ourselves and we're just wrecking our own brain over why we don't have XYZ thing or whatever it is, right? I believe everything happens for a reason and in the
Mhm.
right timing. And that can be frustrating at times, right? Maybe you've
Mhm.
plateaued at a point, and it's because you had to grow a little bit more personally to be able to handle the next stage that you're so desperately after, right? And
Mhm.
that's okay. And that's where it can be hard in that season of waiting or patience or stretching ourselves. So just stop the comparison game. It's a hard thing. It wrecks
Right.
a lot of people
Right.
mentally.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and I'm kind of thinking of it like, like painting. Every job is going to be slightly different. Every company is going to be
Yeah.
slightly different. There's, like you said, versus the North versus the South. It's
Yep.
hard to do a, side
Yeah.
by side
That's
comparison
that's
because
perfect.
nothing's
That's
the exact
exactly the
same.
comparison I'm talking about, right? Well, if we just
Yeah.
ran our business in Texas, of course we could. No, no, stop making excuses.
It's true though, true.
It
Like,
is.
yeah, we need to look at
Like I'll
ourselves
give you
and
that.
yeah,
Maybe it's 20% easier because they're in Texas and they can do X years in February and you can't do them till April. Okay, cool. I'll give you that. That's not the
yeah.
difference between your $500,000 business and their $1 million business. It's just not.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. And yeah.
It's amazing people
Well,
like me with some of the stuff I say like that. So
but you say it so nicely. Like you
I
say
try
it
to. I say it
truthfully and
with a smile.
nicely. You do
I at
say
least
it
say
with
it
a
with a smile.
smile.
My wife said that the other day.
Yep.
She's like, "It's amazing people like you," and I was like, "Thanks." I think.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. say it kindly though.
Yeah, I
Um,
try. I try to step on toes gently, I
well,
should
you're
say.
good about like making a joke about it too. I
Yeah,
mean, we have no choice but to laugh at like
right.
ourselves or point at ourselves and just realize, I
Yeah.
have things to work on.
Yep.
So what are some like obvious trends or something that are happening or that you wish people were more aware of or need to jump on board or
Um, so what I would say is consistent marketing. That's a big thing.
mm, okay.
It is pretty much 100% unanimous across the board with, again, clients and friends in the industry. Those that have some sort of marketing systems in place do not slow down to the nearly screeching halt sometimes or to the level that people that rely 100% on word of mouth and referrals do.
Mm,
Now, granted, there are some people that have such a great demand that they, are able to stay very well booked out for many months because that's just, again, they have a lifestyle business and that's great. I have nothing wrong with that. But we've seen a lot of people in the last 2 years is like this industry shifted again with consumer demand. We came out of the COVID years where if you could fog a mirror, you could be a busy painter, basically.
hmm
And then we came back to the stage where you actually have to try and sell, and homeowners are making decisions, and costs have risen, right? And it would seem like the people that relied on word of mouth were the ones that were hit the hardest, and like even some weird seasons. Like we had a couple clients have really weird, was it Junes or Julys last year? Like
mm,
just weird. Like can't really explain
hmm
it. But it was a handful of people. It wasn't like there was one client and it was like their market. And as we looked at it across the board, relying on word of mouth, relying on word of mouth, relying on word of mouth, relying on word of mouth. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's one big thing. Again, this time of year is going to slow down regardless. It's holidays, it's Christmas season. But the ones that have been consistently marketing all year and have, things in place, whether it's Google ads, local service ads, doing door hangers for every project they do, consistent email blasts to their previous clients, every month or so, every 2 weeks, whatever. Like when you're just doing things, the impact is a little bit less. The
Okay.
ones that wait until it's too late and then try to start doing something are the ones that are feeling the pressure right now.
Okay. And you're saying consistent marketing, and that's just consistent marketing each year, all year, throughout the year. Like sometimes it
Yep.
takes time for those things to
Yep. It
um,
does to manifest,
happen.
right? I mean, I'm a
Okay.
big believer in planting seeds. And when I say planting seeds, it's, I got a call. I still can't believe this. I always think it's going to be the last one. I haven't had a painting company since 2021 was the last year we turned in a profit and loss, but I really haven't had my company since 2019. Um, Probably haven't marketed since early 2019, mid 2019. I got a call from a
Okay.
flyer that we actually put out in 2017, last year. Eight
For real.
years later.
Wow.
And I knew it was that year because like they sent me a picture of it, whatever. Because I was like, "Will you send me a picture of it?" Like I was just curious, and like I did something on it that tied it to that year. And I was like, 8 years. Somebody held on to this flyer until they were ready to take action.
Wow.
So I say that from a point of view of you just never know sometimes, right? Like that is a
No.
crazy extreme. And again, every time I
Yeah.
think, okay, that has to be the last call, I'll get one sometime in the next 6 months, I'm sure. Um,
Really.
but that's how I feel about it, right? And so, as we look at again the slowdown, it's like, yeah, it's a consistent year round thing. It's having the systems in place. We just did an episode a couple weeks ago called the comprehensive marketing plan for 2026. It had a prettier name than that, but that was the concept. It was kind of like, hey, here's everything to think about as you head into
Right.
2026, how you should be marketing your business, right? Like let's create a comprehensive game plan between social media and email and door hangers and Google ads and like all the different things to kind of work in harmony together. Did you see what I did
Right.
there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Home and Harmony.
Yeah,
To
for
where it kind
those
of
who don't
works.
know.
Yeah. For those that don't know, that's the name of Michelle's company. I almost wore my Home and Harmony t-shirt today, but it was a little too cold.
Aw.
So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so I think that's a big thing is like when we talk about consistent marketing, it is a year-round thing. You have systems in place. We did another episode earlier, I guess I have to say last year now, in 25. That was, I don't remember the name of it. I can go back and look it up. If anybody reaches out, just shoot us a DM on Instagram or something. I'll find it. But it was basically about trigger events in your business and
Mm,
then like time events, right? So things that happen either like every time a job happens, we do this, and this. Or it was the time things where like we do 3 social media posts every week. We are running
right.
Google ads nonstop. We are once a month doing a value add email to our previous clients, right? So kind of looking at your marketing in terms of, does this trigger every time something happens, right? Every time we finish up a job, we
Mm,
send a handwritten thank you card. Every time we finish up a job, we ask for a Google review, right? Like it's every time this happens, it triggers these three or four things to happen. Or there's the time sensitive things that say, hey, 2 to 3 times a week we do this. Once a month we do this. Once a week we go to BNI, right? Like we kind of can filter things into time intervals or trigger events when it comes to marketing. So there's just a couple
okay,
extra
so it's not
resources.
only putting it out there, it's also tracking how it comes back in and what's going along with it,
Yep,
and as well as
exactly.
what's working. And
Yep,
got it,
yep, exactly.
got it, got it. Okay. So I know you're a data guy, a spreadsheet guy. We've already talked about heart palpitations of
Mm-hmm.
talking about numbers and all that sort of thing. But so, like, how does Elite Business Advisors, how do you track or measure what's working across the board for your clients? Like, how do you
Yep.
follow up on
So,
that?
I mean, we have a lot of sheets put together for our clients that we can track data off of. What's really nice is this year we're going to get it all together into even one spot where we can see everybody's data in one place instead of opening all
Hmm.
these different spreadsheets. But so we call them our launch pads, and it allows us to be able to track all the different data, the financial metrics, sales data, all the different things, right? So we can track the numbers in the business. We also have something called our marketing stats tracker, which, as you talked about a second ago, is it helps us
Hmm.
evaluate, hey, we've spent this much on Google. What's been our return on investment, right? And we can track all these marketing stats as well and see what's performing the way it should, what's not. That's how we also get data to say, hey, the number one ROI source across all of our clients is Google local service ads, because consistently across the board, it's a 15 to 20x return from every client that's utilizing them. That we have
Hmm.
this data to track, at least that's utilizing our stuff. So yeah, we try to build a lot of stuff in place to where we get that data, and then again, we can take that and share that, when we're speaking and talking to different audiences.
Okay. And they can
Yep,
bring, I mean, you're just helping bring that value back to those clients,
yep,
and that's awesome.
yep, exactly.
So let's I'm gonna go in a different direction now.
Let's do it.
Where do you draw the line between coach, therapist, human with empathy? Like earlier you were talking about like finances being the number one pain point in the downwell, and I thought of like it being like marriage, you know.
Uh huh.
Um
You're
and the
not
number
wrong.
one thing to pull marriages apart is like
Yep.
money and stuff. So like how do you differentiate between the different roles? Like if somebody's having a life crisis at the same time.
Yep. It's hard. Let me just say this: there isn't a line between any of those things, right?
Mm,
And this is why I think it's critical to hire the right people. I talk about this a lot with our team. Like, human beings are human beings, and
mm,
we have to treat each and every person as such, right? As we should. And yes, we're uncertified therapists and marriage counselors, the first person to say that. And I tell people that up front, like, hey, listen, if we're working with a husband and wife, I'm like, listen, I'm not a licensed marriage counselor. Now, I'll be the mediator. I'll try to be the buffer between you guys when it comes to the business. I don't want to hear about the personal stuff, but it all ties in together, unfortunately. And we end up talking about it and, just try to be there for people, I guess is the best way to say that. But I think there's so much that blends personal and business together, right? I think one thing that we've seen a lot is people that just have some sort of a system to get stuff done, whether it's personally or business, tend to do better with their businesses because they're used to having some sort of a system to get stuff done at home, right? Whether it's, hey, on Mondays we do all the laundry at night and on Saturdays we clean the house, and like you kind of have some sort of a system to just get those weekly repeating things done at home, you're more likely to probably succeed in your business because you're going to do the same thing in your business and have those weekly and daily to-dos, right? And so I think personal and business blends a lot, whether it's a foundational thing like just how do we get stuff done and make sure we don't let things slip through the cracks, or it's things like this where it's like we really have to stop and have conversations because, our personal habits flow into our business, and that can be a good thing. Can be a bad thing. Typically people that are really bad personally, financially, bring those habits into their business, right? So as much as we want to help sit here and coach through the business, if we have the right relationship and if we feel like we can have a hard conversation, sometimes we have to have that conversation of like, I think we need to talk about personal finances, right? Like we don't have to get in the nitty gritty. I don't need to know how many lines of debt you have out there. And like, I don't know that we need to go through all that. But we just need to talk about some habits, right? And if you don't have good financial discipline at home, you're probably not going to have it in your business. So we can try all we want here, but until we kind of get to the root problem, it's going to be really hard to fix here in the business without kind of reframing how we think through finances between the two, right? So there isn't a line as much as I want there to just be a nice brick concrete wall right here that would just, we stay on this side of it. It's not the case. And we want to just be genuine and try to help people as much as we can.
Right. Well, and it makes total sense because like as an entrepreneur, there's zero way to only be just business or just personal. Like it melds together. That's the reality of
Corey
things.
Leister said one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. And we were talking about work-life balance, just in general, right? And she said, I don't believe in that, but I believe in work-life integration. And that's always stuck with me. I think it's a perfect thing that there's parallels in here, because I think it's true, right? There is no balance. There is no separation. As an entrepreneur, you can stop work at 4:30 to go home, but you're not turning your brain off mentally, right? Or there might be an email you need to send at 9:00 after you put your boys to bed. I don't know. It happens in our house all the time. Like it is what it is, right?
Or something that keeps me awake at 3:30 in the morning that I'm like thinking.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's why I can't be awake more than 15 minutes at night with either of our kids as they've been growing up, because if it's more than 10 minutes, my brain just starts thinking about whatever, right? And so I think like just understanding like that integration, like you're never going to have a perfect balance. You're never going to be able to separate your personal and your business, but how can you integrate it like in a healthy way that works for you as a person, but also for your family and from a time perspective and everything else, right?
Right.
Yep.
So when it comes to that, that leads kind of into my next question of how do you go about, or do you go about having to push people into focusing on work versus giving grace, or like how do you, when life is getting messy, how do you help
How do you do
people
it?
do or deal or
I mean, the reality is life is going to always have a curveball thrown at you in some way, shape, or form, large, small, whatever. I think for us, a big thing that we talk about is like, how do we give grace, but also check their limiting beliefs? And I think we mentioned this last week on last week's episode about limiting beliefs, right?
Yeah.
And I think for us, it's we're going to have to overcome things. We're going to have to give grace, and we're going to have to, hey, listen, we understand things happen, right? Life happens. Kids get sick. I feel like that's been our life the last 6 weeks of random who's staying home today and how are we juggling
Yeah.
this and like that. It's going to happen, right?
Hmm.
But I think we want to make sure that like we're not letting our clients, because we care about them and their best interest, we're not letting them use it as an excuse,
Mm.
right?
Hmm.
And, yeah, when there's certain seasons, maybe it's a sick parent, maybe it's something that, really is going to derail some stuff. We have to give even more grace. When it's little things or it's one-time things, it's like, hey, you realize everybody deals with this, right?
Hmm.
Like, so I've had some people try to use the sick kid excuse, and I get it. I'm there. But I'm
Yeah.
like, you realize it happens to everybody? Like, your kid's not the only
Right.
one that gets sick every couple of weeks. Like, we all deal with it. And
Right.
that's why sometimes we work at 10 o'clock at night after they go to bed to just catch up. And it's what we have to do. And I don't love it, but it's the season, right? And so
Okay.
I think just knowing when to give people grace, but also like when to try to look out for their best interest and just
Right.
help them
Tough love.
double check. Yeah, double check their limiting beliefs, because it's real easy to fall into the victim and the excuse mentality.
Hmm.
And again, we want to give people grace, but also help them be the best version of themselves.
Yeah. No, that's good. And that's, yeah, that's tough thing for everyone to have to work through,
It is.
including you as the coach,
Yes.
having to
Yes.
be
The
like,
hard
okay, enough is
conversations aren't
enough.
always the best ones,
Yeah,
but they're the necessary
exactly.
ones, right?
Oy, 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 oy. What, in your opinion, makes someone a good business owner, or like, is there a certain personality type or certain type of individual that you think makes someone better at business or?
No. I mean, there are some things I can say. When it comes to personality type, I don't think so. I think some have an advantage over others, but I think everyone that has an advantage also has its weaknesses too, right?
Hmm.
If you're looking at the disc personality, right, somebody like myself that's a very high D, naturally, dominant, direct, whatever you want to title that. They have advantages because they typically will get stuff done. Unfortunately, we'll also run people over in the meantime to do that. So again, while there's pros to every personality type, there's also cons working against them too. So now I would say the couple things, Michelle, having a growth mindset, I think is important. And I say growth
Mm.
mindset, not just in like business growth, but just personal growth, right?
Yep.
I'm a big fan of 1% better every day. How are we investing into ourselves? How are we learning? How are we educating ourselves? How are we, checking our thinking and not getting stuck in those ruts? And so I
Right.
think that's something that's kind of necessary to have the longevity of a business owner. Is that you're going to look back and be much different in a good way now than you were 3 years ago, right?
Hmm.
And I think another one, I'm a big fan of servant leadership. I think that bodes well for your people. I think that bodes well for your clients, just being there to serve. Um, you know, eh, I don't know. Maybe that's a personal philosophy of mine, but I see the servant leaders are the ones that build healthy, great cultures. Not that it's the only way, but I think that
Right.
does make a great characteristic of a business owner when when they even view what they're doing as serving the community, not just running a business,
Right.
right? There's a
Right.
much
No.
bigger purpose behind all that, I guess. The other couple of things I would say, or I guess one specifically, is having a high level of emotional intelligence.
Mm.
We did an episode earlier this year with, it was Nick Slavic, Matt and Maggie Kuiper, Corey Leister, and Shane Fast. And it was like our 200th episode. And we did it
Awesome.
about emotional intelligence and like
Interesting.
the role that plays in being a business owner. So I would encourage anybody listening to this that wants more info there, to dive back. I think it was like episode 11 this year or last year in season 5. But I think having a very high level of emotional intelligence, again, we're human beings. We're
Yeah.
emotional, right? Especially when it comes to sensitive things like finances or our baby that is our business that we built from the ground up.
Right. Right. Right.
So how
So
do
we're
we
having
yeah,
to evaluate ourselves
yeah,
and humble myself to know that, okay, I'm in the wrong. I'm the holdup, or I am the,
yeah,
what do I need to do differently?
yes,
Even as much as we want to point
mm-hmm,
fingers or,
mm-hmm, yeah. We have to sometimes admit when we're wrong, even if we aren't always the wrong one, right? That's the hard thing to say sometimes.
Yeah.
We're the
Yeah.
completely wrong
Yeah.
one. And so I think
Yeah.
just having a high level of emotional intelligence, again, as I look through a lot of highly successful, high producing people, that seems to be a trait that ripples throughout,
Mm.
to have a high level of emotional intelligence.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Yep.
So, last question, like, so what would you say about like what makes a great coach for someone?
So what we kind of look for is we've been growing our team over the years. Number one, somebody that's able to kind of break things down into that simple, easy to understand, digestive information, right?
Hmm.
I think in order to be a good coach, you have to figure out how to adapt to different personalities, and also convey information to them all differently, right? Somebody like yourself that may not love numbers and may
Hmm.
not love spreadsheets. How do we help speak to you in a way that is helpful for you and your business and who you need us to be to help you understand that, right? So I think being
Right.
adaptive, as well kind of ties in there. I think knowing how to hold the line on people with accountability, and that can be a tricky thing, especially
Uh-huh.
somebody like myself that is a very high D naturally in the disc assessment. I know those weaknesses. I know those tendencies, right?
Right.
And that's why I said earlier, it's amazing some people actually do like me as a person. But like, so how do I hold people accountable without being like a complete jerk about it, right? But then
And
how
then
do,
I'm a people pleaser, so I'm
yeah,
like, oh, let me just do it for you.
yeah, exactly, right. And so like, yeah, how do you do that in a way that is, looking out for their best interest, but also like holding people accountable, and not
Mm.
being rude about it. I think the other thing is, being able to look ahead for people. I think for
Mm.
us as a team of advisors, that's something that I really want our team to make sure that we are looking 3 to 6 months ahead, for our clients, like more so in the sense of like what problems can we anticipate? What are the challenges we know that 3 to 6 months from now we're going to have to deal with, and how do we start on a plan now? Because for a lot of our clients, some of them do a good job of looking ahead, and some of them don't know what they need to be thinking about, and that's okay,
Right.
right? A lot of
Right.
them, again, especially in this season, or we're just trying to survive through the holidays and January and February, right? Until things tend to naturally pick up a little bit more in March. And so it's really easy to, like, we kind of will let them focus on the like right now, today problems.
Right.
And we'll look ahead 3 to 6 months because they don't have the capacity to do it. They're just trying to figure out how do we
Right.
get through January and February and pay our bills and keep money in the bank, keep our team busy, not have to lay anybody off, and we'll start looking ahead for the March through June problems of what they're gonna encounter in the next stage of growth or in 2026. So kind of
That's good.
being the one of our advisors, Stuart, always says we're like the business partner without the equity buy-in. So it's like we'll kind of let them focus on right here, right now, and we'll start looking ahead for them to help anticipate what may or may not come.
That's great. Yeah, I was gonna say it's like you've got their back. Like
Yeah,
you've got our back.
literally. Yep.
And it's nice to know that you've got somebody in your corner when you're just trying to survive some days and that somebody else is still looking out for your best interests and what your company is trying to do. So I
Yep.
love that. That's
That's
awesome.
great. Well, thank you for doing this. This has been so much fun. I hope it was helpful. I hope everybody was able to take a lot away from this. And like I said, I love the unique position that we're in to be able to look across things and bring information like all this, to people. So I've enjoyed getting to know you over the years, ever since that fateful day on the plane to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I got to show you real quick too. And I've got when we sat down, I thought this was the cutest napkin at the time, but people probably can't see it, but it says the best ideas are born on napkins.
Yes,
And
that was the napkins they gave out on the airplane, wasn't it?
yes, it was. And I'm like, I kept on to that, held on to that because I'm like, oh, I love that, way of
Yes.
thinking. But then I just never realized how it would just evolve over,
Yes.
time
No.
um in that
I love it.
meeting. So
Yep.
It's
No, I
awesome.
love it. Well, thank you for doing this. You can co-host or guest host anytime you want. So when you have another great idea, or when I have a great idea and your name seems to slot in perfectly for it, I will reach back out, and you're always welcome to be here.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate your wisdom and your honesty and your willingness to always share and to be a servant leader to, the industry and to those that are listening on the podcast or wherever they may be. I love that you're always willing to give back and help others become the best version of themselves, and I appreciate that.
For sure. Well, I appreciate that. Same goes back to you with all the women in paint stuff, and I know you've been a huge part of that over the years, and it's cool to see what the momentum you guys have built on that the last few years, and I look forward to watching that continue to blossom. You guys have a special thing going there, so
Yeah.
so yeah. Have a
Thank you.
great rest of your day. Have a great 2026. We'll talk soon. Thanks for plugging into this week's episode. I hope you're able to take a few nuggets away from it to implement into your business. Remember, knowledge without implementation is useless. If you're curious about what we do and how we help painting contractors all over North America, schedule a free business analysis meeting with us at www.elitebusinessadvisors.com. Our entire team of advisors have ran and managed painting companies just like myself and are here to help support you on your journey. We have packages available for contractors at every stage of business, from flying solo and just starting out, all the way to multi-million-dollar businesses. And lastly, if you loved this episode, please leave us a rating and a review. It helps others on the platform find our podcast, and it could be the best blessing that's ever happened to them thanks to you. Thanks for plugging in, and we'll see you back for next week's episode.